Okay, again, this is just a bit at the front of the video. The video, if you watch this video, and I suggest you do watch it all the way through, it's over 40 minutes long, but you know, that is what it is. I did a full test, and if you want to see it, you can fast forward a bit, but I talk about a lot of stuff pertinent to all of this, so you know, if you skip it, you miss it. That's up to you guys. Right, it's Thursday evening. Yesterday evening, which was obviously Wednesday, I made this cell. It's a dry cell, solid state cell if you like, no electrolyte. Well, I videoed it. It's, you know, it's on YouTube. There's no separator obviously either, and it performed quite handsomely. I put it into a short. It performed well there in dead short, and it ran that motor for, well, it was going to run for over 12 minutes. The problem was, of course, with that particular test, I'd already shorted the cell first, and I shouldn't have done that. I should have charged it and just put that motor straight on it, but I didn't, and there you go. And what I was going to do this morning was, I planned to come here this morning, which I did, and charge it and run the motor and just see how long it ran for. But I thought, let's see if there's any voltage in it. So I did, and I think it was about 1.3 volts or something like that, which astonished me. I was expecting sort of 0.4, 0.3, somewhere in that region. But of course, then I thought, well, it was regenerating, which I just thought was a bit of bounce back, as most batteries do, you know. So now I haven't measured this yet. I've literally just got here, and I'm just gonna check to see if there's any voltage. Where are we? All right. I was just absolutely amazed. I just couldn't believe there was anything in it. But and all I did was I cleaned up this piece of magnesium and left it. Well, you can see 1.52 volts. Now, for some reason, I mean, I've just put a bit of pressure on the cell, obviously, with this probe. It was 1.52, it's at 1.4 volts now, so it's that pressure again, isn't it? You know, that bit of squared pressure. I can't wait for my toggle clamps to arrive, because I think I've ordered about 6 or something like that. You just literally put the pressure without all these silly clips and that, you know, crocodile clips. So that was that. It's still got volts now. Now, I've got no idea, because this is disconnected anyway, as to whether that will even run this motor. I've got absolutely no idea, but I'm going to find out. This was never intended to regenerate. I literally, I built 4 of these last week and had 4 different styles of them on tests, some with this stuff and all the rest of it. And they all operated differently, especially the one where on the carbon fibre weave, before I'd put anything on that magnesium, it acted like my battery. You know, where I put that spongy carbon foam in the battery, so it acted exactly the same, and it gave you that current, and then the current just ramped up. I need to address that, obviously, because I want the current to ramp up quicker, so I need to adjust the mix a little bit. I know how to do that, so that's not a problem. Right, I'm going to try this. And it's not only has it started that motor, it's whizzing it round. So I want to try the I just want to see what current that motor draws as well. Where are we? Sorry, no preparation time, obviously. I'm just, you know, right, if I, yeah, that's it, isn't it? Yeah. No, it's not. What am I doing? I've literally just got here, folks, sorry. Just finished work, and, oh yeah, right, okay. I think we know what we're doing, he says. Well, this motor spins in either direction, so, you know, with the pos and neg, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, you can see that current. Okay, it was an initial burst of almost 20 milliamps. Oh, okay. So I said 12 milliamps initially. Going to change it to 15 on the video, but of course, if that had a few more volts in it, it'd be a different story. You know, it'd be like 20 milliamps anyway. So there you go. That's just unbelievable. I'm not going to short circuit it at this stage. The two things that I wanted to do this morning, but I was just so amazed at what had gone on with that recovery overnight, I didn't get to do anything. So what I'll do is just leave that running, because the main thing I wanted to do, because I didn't do the test properly yesterday, where I ran the motor. I'd shorted the battery first, if you remember, or if you've seen that video. So it wasn't a proper test. So what I'm going to do tonight now is I'll let that run down until there's nothing left in it, and I'm going to leave that on there as a load for a while, just to make sure it's completely dead. Then I'm going to charge it. I'm going to put the timer on and see how long that lasts, because I mean, it was 12 minutes and still going, but I reckon it would probably have gone on for 15 minutes as it was. I think with a full charge, no shorting or anything like that, I reckon that would, might run on for 15, 16, 17 minutes. I've got a feeling about that. So that's one thing I'm going to do. I'll be back shortly, and bore you all to death with a motor spinning on myself. But the other thing I'll do is talk about some stuff that I've been trying to get my head around, and some technologies that I'm actually looking into, based on this cell and my other batteries as well. The technologies will go hand in hand with either, really. So and really it's all down to Google, really. You can literally research anything you like, and recently I've found Google Scholar, but only because Robert Murray Smith mentions it all the time. You know, go to Google Scholar, and he's quite correct. You know, I mean, the papers that are on Google Scholar are just absolutely amazing. I don't understand most of them fully. I get the gist of it, but you know, it's all there at your fingertips. You know, you just on your computer type a couple of keys, and there it is for you to see. You know, if you're into batteries of development or anything like that, whatever you want to know should be there, because most of it's been done. As I said before, I don't believe all of it's been done, but well, I know all of it hasn't been done, for a fact. So you know, you see people all the time doing new stuff. So that's winding down. I'm going to wind down and do a couple of things, and then I'm going to charge that, and we'll see how long it runs for properly. Bye for now. Sorry about this, but I've just come in and I was yapping away to the phone, obviously. I've just charged that, and I forgot to press record, so I've excuse me, I've literally just charged that now, so there's nothing I can do about it. It just charged. I've dropped the voltage down to 4 volts, and it was charging at 200 milliamps, I think. Yeah, 200 milliamps at 4 volts. I just wanted to give it a slower charge, basically. So that's done. I mean, short circuit. Let's do just a quick short circuit. Because you know I love my short circuits. I can charge it back up again before I do the test. So there's the current. Obviously, you can see that. Not going to bother with voltage. No point. Oh, right. We're on 20 milliamps. Okay. So on the 200 milliamp scale. Okay, so again, in short circuit, it's exhibiting that rise as opposed to a fall. $68 milliamps, 69 milliamps, 70 milliamps. I won't go any further. Well, yeah, I will. Right, okay. Isn't that weird? That is just so weird. That initial burst there was like the peak was over 100 milliamps. So yeah. So what I'm going to have to do, obviously, is charge that again now. If I can find the charge lead. Okay, there it is. So I'll have a look at that, just so you know I am charging it. There I am connecting it. And that's come back up to 300 milliamps. Okay. I'm going to give it, I don't know, 10 seconds or something. That's about 10 seconds, isn't it? Yeah, that would do. Okay. So that's that. Now, what was I going to do? Yeah, I was going to put the timer on, wasn't I? Okay. I just hate this phone. Right. So, positive's connected. We want the negative of the motor. Connect it up. And start the timer. I was going to put the current meter on as well, but it doesn't matter now, does it? It would draw probably 20 milliamps like that. So last night we got 12 minutes. Let's just see what it does tonight. I probably, if it goes on for a long time, I won't bore you with it all. That motor really is whizzing round. Oh, it's interesting to check the voltage, the underload voltage. 2 volts. Two volts underload there. That's why it's whizzing round so quick. Yeah, some of the stuff I've been researching into and looking at, and all sorts of stuff. Wikipedia and Google Scholar, unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. Because I was the word polyvinyl seems to pop up everywhere now. Obviously I've mentioned this before. Robert Murray Smith mentioned polyvinyl pyrrolidine. So I researched that as a possible binder, and got to use it as well, with success and failures. And then I was listening to a talk about another material. It cropped up in this talk about batteries. Long talk on YouTube, and it's about magnesium batteries. And during that talk, this other material I had a direct interest in, you know, because it came out of this battery talk, and it was polyvinylidene. You know, so I researched that, which led me on to all sorts of other things. Another word that was used in the talk was phase pressure. Obviously energy densities of magnesium and all that sort of stuff. Loads and loads of stuff. I'm trying to think of the woman's name now. Anne-Marie Sastry, I think it was. Sastry. It was headed solid state energy storage. I can't remember the rest. Game changing technology or something like that for the 21st century, something like that. And if you know, just YouTube it. Yeah, I mean, halfway through I did nearly fall asleep, but every so often, you know, these words would come out, and such an interesting lady. So, you know, obviously with the future in magnesium batteries. So yeah, that's another word, polyvinylidene. Yeah. And it led me on to all sorts of other things, as it does with Wikipedia and stuff like that. Other stuff that I'm interested in, I've been looking at foams, reading up on foams, reticulated foam, which is a very porous, sort of a low density solid foam. It can be formed in polyurethane, metals, ceramics, all that sort of stuff. Open cell, closed cell foams. It's you know, thanks to Wikipedia again, and in 5 minutes flat, if you were to look at stuff like that, you'd understand why I'm researching some of this. You won't need to be a rocket scientist to see what's going on. So yeah, all sorts of stuff really. What else is there? Another one. Silicon nanotube battery anodes. Wow. Now, I was going to say impressive. It's not a strong enough word really. I read a paper on it. This was again thanks to Robert Murray Smith mentioning Google Scholar, because I'd never heard of Google Scholar, to be honest, until fairly recently. What did the paper go on to say? That these silicon nanotube battery anodes show a very high reversible charge capacity. And I think it said something about got a coulombic efficiency of 89%. They showed a superior capacity retention even at the 5C rate. Now if you don't know what the 5C rate is, I do, but if you don't, Google it. It's there. I mean, this, you know, got my attention, this now. I mean, the matchsticks fell out of my eyes and everything. We're at almost 6 minutes there, look. Oh, I'm trying to remember this now. Silicon nanotube battery anodes. The bit that really got my attention was, yeah, it's coming back, oh yeah, it's talking about capacities in lithium ion cells consisting of a certain type of anode, and it was LIC something O2, I can't remember it. So along with this certain type of anode, or was it cathode? I can't remember. Yeah, along with an anode of silicon nanotubes, will demonstrate it said, a 10 times higher capacity than commercially available graphite. And I thought, what? So obviously I've printed this thing off, and I mean, I was looking at nanotubes anyway, not particularly silicon nanotube anodes, but I was looking at nanotubes again because sorry to keep mentioning Robert Murray Smith, but you know, watch his videos, they're fantastic. You learn a lot. He what did he make nanotubes out of? Carbon nanotubes from sugar. Yeah. You know, impressive display. Obviously, I've seen that many times on YouTube and never took any notice of it, because all people do is put sulfuric acid on sugar and it goes woof, like a big snake comes out of the glass, you know. But of course, Robert Murray Smith actually told us what it was all about, making carbon nanotubes. So yeah, you know, but these silicon carbon nanotubes, yeah, how did they make them? I think it was an etching process, which sounded pretty simple. So, you know, I'm looking into all this kind of stuff. Now, although my toggle clamps haven't arrived, something else did. Finally, my new one. Finally. I did get one before Christmas from China. Never do it again, stuff like that, ever. And it was faulty. So of course you got the old language barrier to hurdle first, and then, well, you know, it just took so long, but I finally got it now. I've got the replacement anyway. So that's just opened up a whole new world for me. This stuff been laying around on shelves, you know, which need my attention. That's been sat for quite a while. And so is that one. You know, just been sat there. It's graphite, obviously. Graphite orientated. So yeah, on with the Sonicator tomorrow. A new world. And obviously, I'm not heavily into graphite yet, but I am heavily into, obviously, activated carbon. You know, aquarium activated carbon. And the best one you can buy is made from, you've got to make sure that you get the best one, which is made from coconut husks or something like that, and that's the one you want. I have tried others which I thought were inferior, so you can soon tell the difference. So yeah, it's all going on, isn't it? There's a lot to do. The trouble is with YouTube as well, you watch something from someone, or someone comments on one of your videos. Now, that can be anyone. It can be an idiot, which a lot of people have to deal with, or it can be someone that's serious, and you can soon tell how serious they are and what, you know, if they're up to anything, because they talk about certain things that you could try, that they've tried. And this leads into a whole new world. You know, it sort of goes from well, it leads to like 50 other things, doesn't it? You know, it's because they say, oh, have you seen so and so's work and so and so's work? Of course, you see their work, you watch all their videos, and you know, one guy recently, you know, that was commenting, and he happened to say something like, oh yeah, I'm from so. No, he didn't. He's from my hometown, or city, I should say. And we got chatting, and we've exchanged phone numbers. A guy on YouTube called Solar Hope, SOLARHOPE. Very interesting guy. He knows a lot. He's an ex-telecoms engineer. He knows a bit about electronics as well, as I do. And yeah, it's all interesting. You know, and if he needs a bit of help with anything, I'll say what I know, and if I want something that he knows, he'll tell me, and it's brilliant. You know, so we email each other as well, and yeah, Solar Hope. Now, I've started watching his videos. It is a time-consuming thing, watching these YouTube videos, because you flash off to something else then as well, like a branch on a tree, and you start watching something else that's caught your eye and all that. But I've been so busy doing stuff like that, watching his videos, I haven't even subscribed to his channel, I don't think, but I'll have to rectify that tonight if I can. Sorry, Martin. So yeah, we're almost 13 minutes on that one. Yeah, it's all there, guys. It's, you know, anything you want to know, it's there. Well, it appears that I've been talking for 12 minutes or longer. Yeah, the other video last night on this was the shortest video I think I've ever done, which ain't, you know, not a bad thing. What does Martin call them? Oh, epics. Yeah, cheers, Martin. But, you know, if there's a lot to say, there's a lot to say, isn't there? And if there's a lot to do and show, then, you know, you can edit loads of stuff out of your videos, but at the end of the day, you can miss a lot as well. You know, I've edited videos and looked at them after I've posted them to YouTube and thought, oh, did I really cut that bit out, you know? And it's so poignant to what you were doing, but, you know, it's one of those things, isn't it? I think the video editing is getting better, and, you know, 14 minutes, look. Well, now it is. So yeah, got me Sonicator. Funnily enough, that my spongy activated carbon, which works superbly, it needs work, obviously, and a suitable mix of an electrolyte to go with it. Just quickly, just check that voltage before that switches off. We are at 1.062 volts, so it's still on a volt, and that seems to be quite slow really, for a volt, but there you go. 14 minutes in. I'll have to rerun this test at some stage with the current meter in line, in parallel series, and just see what goes on really. But the trouble is, they affect what you're doing. I'm always in two minds whether these are actually drawing current from your circuit as well as, you know, because you've got battery, but, you know, I don't know on that one. I don't know. I should know, but I don't. So yeah, 15 minutes, 15 and a half minutes. I might as well see this one out, I suppose. I can always edit it or cut it or whatever, but the thing is, if you do that, do people actually believe that that was a full test, you know? Because you could edit and do a cut, and move forward on the timer, but they don't know. No one knows whether you've actually disconnected that. Then that's the trouble. So this is why I need this to run on. Now I've been talking for 19 minutes, believe it or not, and that's been running for 16 of them. So kind of running out of things to say. Yeah, it's still spinning, look. I'm quite impressed with this, considering I just knocked it up very quickly. I mean, and I did have, as I said, 4 cells on the go in the week earlier on, and I should have just videoed all of them really, but it's all time, innit, you know. It was all first attempts. They all varied. I knocked as I say, a couple up on this carbon. There's one there that I've knocked up. I haven't even tested that yet. It's looking a bit wet though. You know, just give that a wipe. Because the problem is in here is moisture as well and stuff like that. So but I did a different preparation on this particular one. I don't even know if there's any voltage in it, whether it will charge or whatever. Got a bigger piece of magnesium on it, obviously, and that piece of carbon. So I've yet to test that one. It's just this one has just got to me a little bit, you know, especially with its recovery. Now, as far as pressure is concerned, I don't know. If I put a little bit of pressure on that, I've only got pressure on one side with this clip. That's why I'm waiting for these toggle clamps, obviously. Proper squared pressure. Maybe that's what that word phase pressure meant in these magnesium batteries. I don't know. Is that a phase pressure, or does it produce its own phase pressure, or what? I'll have to Google that one again as a separate word, because I haven't done it yet. I'm going to press that. No, it's not making any difference at this stage. But there you go. Still running. Almost on 19 minutes now. I had a feeling that, excuse me, I had a feeling that it was going to run on in the back of my mind for 20 minutes, but I didn't want to say that. I've done it now, I've said it. It'll probably stop at 19 minutes now. No, it won't. But now, obviously, you don't have to watch all of this. You know, you can fast forward it, but you'll miss all the really clever and intelligent things I talk about and say. And now, there's some interesting stuff out there, especially with these phones, and especially with these nanotubes. Now, in there is something else I've been working with as a material. Now, if I can move that, put that there in its place. You can still see that. Yes, you can. Now, in there, if you've watched Robert Murray Smith's videos, you'll know what this is. It's got two of these, one screws on the other end, and you put it in the oven. It's kind of a poor man's autoclave. Now, in there is a carbon, which I've been testing in this form, and I got it to work. I need to up the process a little bit. You know, I did it all slap hazard again, as usual, as I do. But in there, that's from a cuttlefish. Now, I'm not going to say any more about it. If you want to see what that is all about, watch the Robert Murray Smith video on, it's one of the ones on carbonisation, hydrothermal carbonisation. And you'll see him get to use one of these. Smaller one than this. One's bigger, of course. But they're brilliant. Basically, it does what it says on the tin. So, you know, I've carbonised one or two things in there now. I meant to start doing my seaweed because another video of Robert's was on seaweed. Very, very interesting. And what he's done with his excuse me, seaweed battery is almost identical to what I've done there. Now that is slowing right down. It is though 21 minutes, 22 minutes look. So yeah, hydrothermal carbonisation. Again, it's a new world, you know. Once you start doing it and carbonising stuff properly, it's a bit hit and miss, you know, in the oven with your times and all the rest of it. There's so many things you've got to, so many variables, you know, heat, time versus heat and all the rest of it. But of course, Robert explains it in a far better way than I can. You know, he's a man of words and I'm not, so my vocabulary does not extend to that of his, I should say. Now that is really slowing down now, isn't it? I think it's on its last legs. 22 minutes, almost 23 minutes. Which isn't bad, because I know that motor at a higher voltage does do 20 milliamps and over. So, you know, if it started off at 20 milliamps and then dropped down to, I don't know, what was it, 13 milliamps or something like that. Yeah. You see, what I want to see now is the regeneration again after this, because it's a big interest of mine. All of my cells, all of my videos have been on regenerating cells. Now, I've also commented about other people, of course, that there's no progress. Now, I had a thought to myself last night, is this because there's nothing in it at the end of the day? I don't know, but that's the thought that cropped up in my mind. Is this just a dead end? Have all these people not bothered to continue with that sort of research? Because it's a, what's the term, lame duck or a dead duck or something like that, which, you know, in this country means it ain't gonna happen, you know. I don't know, but it was just one of those thoughts, and I thought, you know. But of course, with what I've done with my cells, you know, personally I think it's far superior to what anyone else has done with like crystal cell technology, especially in terms of current. You know, I'm up to you know, I'm up to 3 amps now, just shy of 3 amps. So the next benchmark for me on those cells is 5, and that's it, full stop. You know, you never stop, do you? It just has to go on and on and on. You know, it's a bit like someone that's got 2 million quid. You know, he wants 3, then he wants 4, doesn't he? Yeah, and then he wants 5. You've got to ask yourself why, I suppose. But how many fast cars can you buy? But similar thing, isn't it? You know, it's that need to go further to make it better. And generally that's me. You know, I produce something, then I want it better. I want it to be the best it can be, and that's it. I've said that before. So, and the other thing is, you know, looking at this magnesium from China, I know in my bones that, you know, they say it's pure, it's a high grade. No, it ain't. It's a low grade. That much I do know, because I've used high grade magnesiums in the past. Not for this, but for other things. Now, I know that whatever I produce with the magnesium I've got, once I get a high grade one, and I have ordered a high grade one, I found a company in the UK, and they supply Formula 1 teams and stuff like that with magnesium for the weight, I suppose. So yeah, I've got some high grade magnesium on order, and I've no reason to doubt that that will be, you know, the high grade material. So and I've also found another company in the UK that supplies A4 sheets of magnesium. And if anyone wants to know who and where that is, I'll gladly give you the details. All you got to do is message me and ask. I think it was it's actually on a par or cheaper than what you'd buy from China, and they're in the UK. Okay, we're on 27 minutes, and that's on its last legs. Yeah, the magnesium, can't remember what grade it is. I think it's a low grade one again, but a UK company, so, and it's flat sheet, A4 sheet. Now these things that come from China are quite literally a square like that, you know. I've just cut a bit out of there, so, or a rectangle I should say, and you know, when you look at the price you pay from China and the price of this one in the UK, you get 6 of them out of this sheet. Well, would you? I don't know. Let's have a look. You would get 6 of those out of an A4 sheet. So China aren't that cheap for some things, are they? Okay, that's going to stop, isn't it? But 28 minutes, look. Whoa, 28 minutes. Oh, not even switched on. Alright, I'll disconnect that. Turn that on. And check the voltage. Now it's 0.9 and rising, look. One volt. I'll check it again in a few minutes, but obviously now what I want to do is try that again. Oh, do you know what? And the camera doesn't lie, that's what they say. I just find that at this stage just incredible. That cell is recovering, I think, in a way it shouldn't, but well, I'm stuck for words for once. It's recovering in a way that it shouldn't, but it's recovering, and I know exactly what I did, what preparation I did on the magnesium. So, you know, as I say, it's just a piece of carbon fibre weave, piece of magnesium, and a preparation on the magnesium. And as far as Robert Murray Smith goes, my next one, well, actually it'd be the weekend because I've got to get down the beach. It's only 8 mile away to my nearest beach, so I shall be off to get some seaweed and try to do what Robert Murray Smith did with his cell, similar to this. So right voltage first. Right, can you see that? Okay, 1.14. I mean, that is shooting up in that, you know, that's not recovering slowly by any means. So okay, it spins that. I wonder how much current it's actually got that it's recovered. So the meter's still on. We're on the 200 milliamp scale still, so let's just try it. I'm not expecting miracles here, but okay, short circuit, 3, 2, 1. Wow. Back up to 47 milliamps. I don't know what I've done here. I don't know what I've produced really. I've got no idea. I know what I did and how I did it, but and there's no point in me going into it because you know this is really new to me. It's a bit like those salts on it, you know. The old one was a fine sea salt when I was looking at those, but there was no point in me saying anything about it because I did eventually, obviously, but at the time, you know, these are just two that I was testing, and all I did was looked at the ingredients and looked at all the magnesiums, obviously, looked at some of the other ingredients, and well, I just bought all of these ingredients, really, all of the magnesiums, to see what effect these magnesiums were having on my particular cell. And you know, eventually I spilled the beans. Those are the two salts. Look, once I'd sort of got somewhere, and it's the same with everything, isn't it? You know, I've said about this that I've done quite a similar thing to what Robert Murray Smith did in his seaweed cell, but mine's recovering. And it's recovering quite well. Sorry, Robert. Yeah, I've lost my train of thought now. Taking the Michael. Yeah, but for what I've got, carbon fibre weave, you know, this stuff, that is what's there. That's not, you know, graphene. It's not graph oil. You know, I've got graph oil, got quite a bit of it, but because of my and it is graph oil, look, because of my research into what I've been doing, you know, activated carbon has been the way for me with the cells that I've been building. If I've said this before, if graphite were to play a part in what I'm doing, then it will play a part, you know, that's all there is to it. But you know, I've got some interesting things to do with this carbon fibre weave yet. Again, I'm gonna have to stop watching Robert Murray Smith's videos. I talk more about Robert Murray Smith than I do about anything else. I don't mind. The guy's a genius, as I've said before. And I don't say that about many people. Yeah, something really interesting that I picked up on that he said in one of his videos about carbon fibre weave and a particular acid, and that kind of opened my eyes in one respect. So, and I've yet to try it because I can't get my hands on the acid just yet, but I will. Either that or I'll make it. Bit nasty making acids, but right, yeah, I don't see what else I can say about this really. Now the last one was, I'm a dead short, this is of course, was 47 milliamps, wasn't it? I'm still waiting for my switches to arrive from eBay so I can get these resistors and, you know, do proper loads, just switch them in. 47 milliamps was the last one. Oh right, okay, so that's lower then. Okay, whatever, doesn't matter to me. If it didn't recover at all, it wouldn't matter to me, but it does. So I guess when I tried that charge before, I'd lowered the voltage to 4 volts and it was charging at, well, it charged at 200 milliamps at one stage, so let's just see what happens this time when I connect that like that. Oh right, okay, that said 600 first, then 500, 400. So basically that is charging up just like a battery. Will that go to 200 milliamps? I'm wondering whether I should just hold it for a bit longer and see if you get a bit more out of it, or no, it's holding at that 3, isn't it? The problem is there's not a lot of cell capacity with this, so you know, I don't want to push it and burn out my surface. I mean, I took that apart on the first video, and I shouldn't have done it, because it was that what's going on there is so fine, you know. But I did it, and that's it. So do a voltage check now. I've just charged that up again. Well, 1.7. It's lower this time than it was before. So but it is going up. No, is it? Or down? Oh, okay. No, it's going down, isn't it? Alright, so I'll just give that a couple of quick pulses and see what the voltage is. Yeah, that's reading 200 milliamps now on the power supply. Okay, let's see what that voltage is now. Hopefully you can see that, yeah. I mean, it was, yeah, that's, I don't know what that's doing really. Some proper pressure on there. Yeah, I don't think it knows what it wants to do. Maybe I've killed it a bit, I don't know. But there you go, that's it really. I don't really see what else I can say at this stage about this. Apart from that really is whizzing round. Now, one thing I have not done is looked at the load at this sort of voltage. There you go, you see it peaked at 25 milliamps, but to be fair, you know, it's dropped down to 15.5, which I think was my initial guesstimate. So there you go then. Let's put that on the 20 milliamp scale, see if it's any different, because it nearly always is. No, not really. You're always better to drop down with these meters, because it gives you a more of a correct reading. So okay then, you know, 14.2 milliamps, and dropping of course as the cell voltage drops. So there you go, that's about it. There's nothing more I can do at this stage. Well, there is, build a better one of those. You see, I like this carbon fibre weave. I mean, I think it's got magical properties. Obviously, in a lot of things and a lot of other ways, graphene is the ultimate material. But there's a lot of carbons that are structured in certain ways which are highly interesting. And to be fair, graphene as a flat surface is what it is, but graphene structured in other ways is again different. Now, talking about carbon fibre nanotubes, and even the silicon version that was mentioned, you know, get to see what that's all about and its structure, because I've got a lot more to do with that yet. I've got some more cuttlefish bone on order. You know, get to see what it's all about. It's worth it. So that's me, I'm done. I need an early night for once. What time it is? Well, it's 7:14 p.m. So and I'd like to get this up tonight on YouTube, so I think I'll go away and do that. It's a long one again, but over 45 minutes, so there we go. I'm going to stop that, get rid of that, and there we go. Turn that one off, turn that one off. Over and out.